A dangerous statement by Guardiola reveals the great European conspiracy to destroy Messi and the Argentine national team. But before we begin, if you are a true fan of the Argentine national team and you agree with me that they have suffered brutal conspiracies, like this video right now, subscribe to the channel by activating the notification bell and write justice for Argentina in the comments right now to shake the platform and make the whole world hear us. Welcome to this extraordinary and explosive coverage as we confront one of the greatest cases of sports corruption in modern history. Today, we reveal the details behind the shock that shook the foundations of UEFA and the halls of FIFA in Zurich, after the mastermind and coaching genius Pep Guardiola broke his long silence to unleash a media bombshell that rocked social media and embarrassed the top executives of the old continent. Guardiola, considered the spiritual father of Messi's development and one of the coaches who knows the inner workings of world football better than anyone, decided to appear at an extraordinary press conference to expose what he described as a dirty and systematic war, directed from the shadows to bring down the Argentine national team and destroy the legend of Lionel Messi. Pep confirmed that Argentina was not only fighting its rivals on the pitch, but was also facing an entire system of sports and media mafia that did everything in its power to strip La Albiceleste of its glory and deprive it of its legitimate right to dominate the world throne, pointing out that what has happened recently goes beyond the limits of fair competition and has become a direct and open attack against an entire footballing nation. Pep Guardiola explained during his candid remarks that the true roots of this malicious conspiracy began immediately after Argentina's historic coronation, when Europe's dominant football elite could not accept the idea that their pride had been crushed by a Latin American team led by the magician from Rosario, Lionel Messi. The Manchester City manager revealed that the centers of power in the old continent, backed by gigantic media empires in England and Spain, began pulling their dark strings to manipulate international public opinion and redesign the refereeing and administrative landscape in order to stop this extraordinary Argentine generation. Guardiola said in strong and direct words, "I coached Messi for years, and I know exactly what he is made of. To them, he is a real nightmare that threatens their economic and historical hegemony. When Argentina showed the world that pure talent and fighting spirit are capable of defeating Europe's billions, the powerful figures within UEFA went mad and began coordinating media demonization campaigns and administrative pressure on FIFA." Guardiola added that these groups manufactured crises and stirred up the fans by inventing false narratives that questioned the integrity of Argentina's achievements. The main objective of this entire media circus, he said, was to create a state of psychological tension and isolation around Messi and his teammates in order to strip them of their title and cast doubt on their brilliance, something that European tactics had been unable to stop on the pitch. Guardiola did not stop there, but went on to reveal the magnitude of the terrible pressure exerted even within Europe's biggest clubs against anyone who supports Argentina or speaks fairly about its rights. Pep cited the suffering faced by coaches and sporting directors who have an Argentine star in their squads, confirming that the British press and certain prominent figures engage in a form of administrative harassment and sporting blackmail to force clubs to restrict Argentine stars and isolate them emotionally. Guardiola continued by saying, "It is shameful to see football becoming a stage for personal and political revenge. Whenever a European team loses to Argentina, the newspapers open fire and direct all of their fury at the Argentine professionals playing across the continent in an attempt to frustrate them and break their collective spirit before international competitions." Pep pointed out that these arbitrary practices have nothing to do with sport, but are desperate attempts to ignite crises inside dressing rooms and impose unfair and unjustified sanctions, emphasizing his absolute refusal to submit to these impositions that seek to force coaches to abandon the values of justice and sporting honor, stressing that the Argentine player continues to be a model of sacrifice and professionalism essential to any successful project. Guardiola then went on to dismantle what he called Europe's double standards regarding symbolic and marginal issues, questioning how national teams and players in Europe are allowed to express complex political opinions and display controversial slogans in various tournaments while receiving applause and support from the Western press, which portrays them as heroes of freedom of expression. Meanwhile, media and disciplinary guillotines are raised the moment an Argentine player expresses love for his homeland or raises a banner reminding people of his country's historical rights, such as the cause of the Falkland Islands. Pep said in a firm tone, "We have seen how the rules and laws suddenly change to become a sword of Damocles hanging over the necks of Argentines, simply for celebrating their identity or defending their honorable history." This double standard demonstrates how FIFA's regulations and those of the federations are used as tools of political repression against the countries of Latin America. Guardiola stated that attempting to suppress the national feelings of players reflects an outdated colonial mentality that must be removed immediately from the dictionary of modern sport. Because football was created to unite peoples and give a voice to the defenseless so they can demand their usurped rights, not to carry out agendas of geographical favoritism and discrimination against everything that is not European, emphasizing that defending the truth and historical justice is not an option, but a moral duty for every honorable athlete. In the most dangerous part of his statements, Guardiola dropped a bombshell regarding the dark corners of international refereeing, pointing out that what happened in the most recent matches, especially in decisive clashes against strong national teams, was a carefully orchestrated performance designed to clip Argentina's wings. Pep revealed that the refereeing committees, under pressure from the fanatical European press, psychologically conditioned match officials to limit the movements of Argentine players by calling fouls that did not exist and handing out unnecessary yellow cards for completely normal physical contact, while completely ignoring the blatant provocations and unsportsmanlike behavior of their opponents on the field. Guardiola explained, "We all noticed how the VAR criteria and refereeing decisions suddenly changed to weaken La Albiceleste and create tension among the players. They planted fear in the hearts of the referees to the point where the official was afraid to give Argentina its legitimate rights for fear of being attacked by the press the following day." Pep added that this blatant manipulation not only harms Argentina, but also destroys the sport as a whole, turning decisive matches into scripts written in advance in the executive offices of Zurich and Nyon, in favor of those who possess financial and media power, thereby bringing an end to the concept of fair competition and fair play. Guardiola concluded his thunderous speech with historic words that will remain engraved in the memory of the game, saying, "Argentina's history and Messi's greatness were not built in air-conditioned offices or through biased refereeing decisions. They were written with tears, sweat, and the absolute integrity of these heroes on the football pitch. No malicious media campaign or administrative conspiracy will ever erase this brilliant truth from the memory of football lovers." Now, after these explosive statements from one of the greatest football minds in the world, the most important question remains, and it is directed to you, our dear audience. Do you believe that FIFA and UEFA will give in after this conspiracy has been exposed and correct their course? Or will the attack against the world champions continue with even greater intensity? Share your opinions and analysis with us in the comments below the video. And don't forget to like and share this video everywhere, because your voice and your support are the only weapons capable of exposing corruption and delivering the message of justice for Argentina to the entire world. Subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to continue discovering what remains untold in the world of football.